Welcome to Scientific Research Methods. This is a small class. The last time I looked, only 3 students. And in some ways, that's kind of good because we're going to be doing original research in the class, and it will give us a chance to work more closely together in kind of shaping your research. By the time you're done with the class, our objective is to get you to a point where you are capable of designing, implementing, and analyzing your own sociological or social scientific research. And I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to do that. Research methods is kind of the heart of sociology in that it's one of the gifts that we give to the larger society, and one of the skills that is unique to the discipline, that gives you something that's a marketable skill, along with many other marketable skills, but it's a really important one for sociologists. And so we'll talk about different social scientific research methods. The one thing that unites all of them, some are qualitative, some are quantitative, but they're all empirical. And what I mean by that is we start with the assumption that we learn about the world, we know about the world through observation, and that we're able to test hypotheses through a variety of means. When we talk about qualitative methods, things like field research, it's more about immersing yourself in a setting and observing over a period of time and then looking back at your observations and trying to make sense. One of the things that we look for, no matter which method we're using, is patterns. Human behavior is very patterned. If you don't know, the election predictions that come about when we have national elections typically are within 2 to 3 percentage points of being accurate. And this is based typically on a sample of 1,200 to 1,500 likely voters. And what I'm saying in this is human behavior is patterned enough that we can kind of extrapolate from those 1,200 to 1,500 voters to millions of people who are going to vote and come pretty close to being accurate. And so human behavior, maybe not determined, but largely patterned nonetheless. And the goal of social scientific research methods is to explore those patterns and to see if we can find ways to better understand the things that push and pull human behavior. And so field research is one of those methods. We'll also look at experimental methods, if you're familiar with the work of Solomon Asch and his study on conformity, or Stanley Milgram and his study on obedience. These are good examples of scientific research methods that are experimental in nature. We also use survey research and several other methods to kind of get at an understanding of human social behavior. And so what we're going to do in the class, we will have some standard exams, and I will give you study guides before those exams so you know the basic terminology and the concepts and principles of scientific research methods. But the way you'll really learn is by designing and implementing, conducting, and analyzing your own original research. And so the first part of this class that's so important is for you to come up with an idea. And in the beginning, it can be very loose. I'm interested in prejudice. I'm interested in self-concept. I'm interested in such and such. And then we'll refine that. And we'll use the first several weeks to keep refining that. And we'll ask you to do a literature review where you'll be working at finding out what the current literature in the field reports on these, whatever area you choose. That's also, by the way, a good way to get a topic. If you just have no idea, nothing's jumping out at you, then get into Social Psych Quarterly or get into American Sociological Review or the American Journal of Sociology. See what research is out there. And then we'll see if we can tailor something that's doable. And what I mean by doable is we have kind of a limited population at our disposal, probably other Hillsdale College students, and we don't have huge budgets either. And so those are some of the constraints that are going to shape what we can do. But you'll be surprised at how many ways we can come up with research to get at some of the topics of interest to you. And so the thing I want you to start on now is what Arsenio Hall used to talk about, is things that make you go, And I want you to come up with something sociological that makes you go, I wonder why males are like this and females are like this, or many, many other kinds of topics that could be turned into a social scientific research project. And when I get back, I'll help you shape that. I'm going to ask you to post some ideas for this online, and I'll give you some feedback even before I get back with you on January 26th. And so we can have some dialogue between now and then about ways you might push towards refining the topic, making it more doable, and maybe making it a little more unique or original too. Throughout the whole class, once we've got our topics in place, we'll be looking at how we design research, how we design questions if we're doing survey research, and some of the rules we need to follow. Because what separates social scientific research from simple human observation are those rules. That we have things to make sure that we're as objective as possible, that other people conducting the same research would come to similar conclusions, and so forth. And one of the reasons we point to peer-reviewed journals is that our peers, scholars, are looking at the research we offer up for publication and saying, yes, this person followed the rules, it's a good sample size, they used good sampling strategies, they conceptualized well, and so forth. So those are the things we'll talk about when I get back. In the early stages, my colleague will come down and talk a little bit about different research methodologies, and I'm going to ask you to get into the literature, get into lit review early on so that your topic is beginning to be formulated. This is the most critical thing early on, that you come up with something that looks like it might be interesting to you and workable. And I will help you shape that so that we can turn it into something that's researchable, interesting, and could even be the start of a master's thesis somewhere down the road as a possibility. The Blackboard site will be up. Email me if you have any questions at all. The subject matter really can be fun, and it's my goal to make it that. And I hope we have fun together, and by having just a handful of people in the class, we'll be able to make sure that we have more time with each of you to really help shape the best possible research design we can. I look forward to seeing you in 3 weeks.